I don't know. As you might know, I actually do just do the intro quite so the intro little section. I do it quite before the actual episode, so I do not actually know what I'm going to talk about in the episode, but I somehow want it to be like that because it just seems to be high quality and it seems actually to be like, okay, I'm cutting this shit and whatsoever. But I'm not. And this is a great thing because I can record, do everything while the episode, and then I just load up and everything is ready. And everything has a decent quality, and everything is quite enjoyable, I guess. And yeah, today we're actually going ahead with the 12 Rules of Life by Peterson, Jordan B. Peterson, again. So we're going ahead. The last time we actually finished a little summary about all the rules together. So there was a little summary of all the rules, which was what we've been gone through the last two times. So actually 2 episodes, 2 full 30 minutes of these 2 rules. They are amazing. I guess some of them are really amazing. Some of them are like, okay, I don't know. The thing there is, which just comes to my mind, is that it's just really mixed up. So there's some child, parenting tips in them. And then there's just normal tips about your life and whatsoever. So it is quite mixed up, and I guess there should therefore maybe even be something for everybody, which is great, which is totally great. And now I've seen, to actually show you, or not show you because it's not working, always the same shit. Now you can see can you even see this? I don't think so, right? Oh, it's the without window. Great. Oh, it's there. Maybe it's just because I was in the without window section or scene. I'm using OBS, so Open Broadcaster, by the way. It's just an incredible software. It is. And by the way, I actually managed to forget about the podcast. I didn't upload 2 entire episodes, so actually yesterday and today there has to be one, but I actually just, I actually forgot to upload something yesterday. So there's only an episode on the 25th of April, but the 26th there's nothing because I forgot it. And I did never ever just think that I actually could forget these things. But it's what it is. And today I'm actually going to cut my hair once again because I have to go to some event, I'd say, and there I just have to have or just people expect me to look a little bit better than I'm looking now. Actually, only because of this reason, I should actually not cut my fucking hair. Just to fuck all the people. Just to give a fuck about what they're saying and what they're expecting. But when your girlfriend is involved, you do not just, act like a dumb fucker. Actually, it seems to be like to actually show you, and maybe even as a close-up, because there's not often a close-up in the videos. So the 12 rules for life actually only cost $16, which is less than $20, as they say, which is, I guess, very enormous. I think it's generally speaking, it's pretty enormous how cheap books are. They are really cheap. There aren't too many books that are above $30. Like in the self-help section and or biographies and whatsoever, there are totally scientific books and real studies and whatsoever that are way, way, way just more expensive than these $16 or $20 or $30. They can cost up to, I guess, I would even say $100 or euros or whatsoever, because they are very, very, very expensive. But, these make sense because it's scientific and, whatsoever. But most often these self-help and self-development books aren't that expensive. But it's just a commitment, reading through the whole shit and just going through it and taking the time for actually doing this and whatsoever. It is just a commitment, and it's just quite a lot of time that you're just really investing into reading books and whatsoever, or listening to books. So there are a few comments about the 12 rules of life. Is it even a little bit too small? Actually make it a little bit thinner there so that you can see more of me. Wow. Oop. Should I read the comment? Should I read it? I think it... Okay, I just have to read the last one. Okay. So Jordan Peterson is Christian and he refers to the Bible throughout, but this isn't a religious book. Instead, he argues that because similar tenets underlie a broad range of religions, Christianity, Buddhism, and whatsoever, our human struggles are universal. However, 12 Rules for Life is based on faith, by which I mean it doesn't really so much on data, doesn't rely so much on data, as it does on principles that just make sense. The book doesn't use randomized controlled trials to prove not lying to yourself is a good way to improve your life, unlike the data-driven styles of grit or how not to die. But given the complexities in life, not everything can be proven, and often you just have to act according to what your intuition is best. And thus, acting out the 12 rules for life requires a bit of faith. I guess it does. I really guess it does. I, by the way, hope that my PC isn't too loud. I really hope. The little introduction, not gonna... it seems to be something in there, but I do not want to read it because it's way too much for what we can... Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna read it. So most humans crave order and meaning in their existence to deal with the terrifying uncertainty of the world. For much of history, this function was served by religion, which rules handed down by gods and supernatural surveillance of behavior. Historians Durant agree with this. Despite differences in the beliefs, they drew on common themes, and the need for rules and order was universal. The ubiquity of this suggests something biological or evolutionary. The developed world is moving to greater secularism as a result of scientific explanations of the world's uncertainty, critical thinking around religion, and the impracticality of all religions being true at once. And moral relativism. But there is no scientific code of ethics to inherit the stabilizing role of religion. In the absence of clear rules and a moral compass, people are prone to nihilism, existential angst and misery, and indulging their instincts. In 12 Rules for Life, Peterson rejects the value of moral relativism, in brackets, that good and evil are subjective opinion, every view is generally acceptable. Which is totally true, and which was actually something that I've been thinking about as well, because it is true, whether something is good or evil or nice or bad or just pretty or not pretty, definitely comes up to just how you're viewing it. It definitely does, and therefore, I don't know. Therefore, it's very... I don't know, I think therefore you can actually just really... you can really just accept a lot of opinions and a lot of, even judgments of people, I guess, because they're seeing the world something or somehow different than you're doing, and therefore it's somehow acceptable, isn't it? This necessitates tolerance for all ideas to avoid being judgmental and prevents adults from telling young people how to live. This also ignores thousands of years of development of ritual and how to live. In this vacuum, many are drawn to groups and to belief instead, because it gives them identity, purpose, and a shared code of conduct. It simplifies the world. But groups and the beliefs is susceptible to crowd psychology and escalating extremist behavior, with individuals suppressing dissent for fear of backlash. It also makes conflict with other groups inevitable. For decades, Peterson was flummoxed by the question of the Cold War. How could people risk world construction for the belief system? He concluded that people adopt shared belief to avoid negative emotions spurred by chaos and are willing to fight to protect something that saves them from such terror. Ideologies are defined as simple ideas distinguished as science or philosophy that are unsatisfactorily simplistic and explanations for the complexity of existence. Instead, Peterson chooses to focus on individual responsibility. The central tenets are: take responsibility for your own life, walk the line between order and chaos, where life is stable enough but also unpredictable enough to prove growth. The classic hero must give up something to be reborn and meet a great challenge. Acknowledge that life is suffering. Your goal is to make progress to avoid suffering. In terms of progress, which also is somehow like achievement, which is actually something that I've been watching today about. It was somehow, I think it was a training from Tony Robbins, but because it wasn't a speech, I guess, because there were two less people in the room, so I guess it was a training, and he was talking about the actual two essential things that you need in your life. To actually be happy somehow, but it's very difficult to actually kind of validate that for me. But I'm gonna just give you my points afterwards. So he said that you actually just only need fulfillment, which is the science, the art of fulfillment, and the science of achievement. Why science and art? Because art is something that there is no plan to. So art is something everybody does differently. There are these artists that might be doing cubism, and then are the just real life drawing artists. But science is something that people have just known or understood, which is the same with your body. There are some really essential and just proven ways to, just to build up muscle and to just stay healthy and whatsoever, because it's scientific. But art is not. Art, there's nothing about art that somebody has just, found out or, whatsoever. And so you only need those two things, which seems to make your life just great and happy and whatsoever. But the thing is, can you even be happy without being fulfilled and without having anything achieved? I'm quite questioning it, vice versa. Which means that if you're just saying, the only thing you need in your life is being happy, which then means that you're automatically fulfilled and also you've achieved something. Because without those two things, you wouldn't be happy as well. It's just a form of definition or just a question of definition. but yeah, but the thing is, in terms of achievement, there's also progress. You do just have to progress to achieve something, And this is just what came to my mind, where I just, read that progress is actually pretty important for what you're doing in life, or for actually being happy with what you're doing in your life, or with your life in general. And I do just reminded myself that I actually have to turn off everything, that we are not getting disturbed here in the episode. Where did I stop? So, individual responsibility. So take responsibility for your own life. Walk the line between order and chaos, where life is stable enough but also unpredictable enough to provoke growth. The classic hero must give up something to be reborn and meet a great challenge. Acknowledge that life is suffering. Your goal is to make progress to avoid suffering. Typical overprotective adults avoid discussing suffering with their children with the hope that it will protect them from it. If we live properly, we would be resistant to the pains of existence and to the enticing lures of empty ideologies promising safety. And that Peterson's 12 rules for life have hit such a chord support the first assertion that most people crave order and structure. So this was quite the introduction. I left out something, and if you are just willing to read through it, it's just above the introduction, about the small introduction that I went just through, because I found it's not something that's quite important. Go to the alanchang.com website and hit up the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson. And then you can read it on yourself, which is totally something good to do as well. If you might not understand everything in the audio version, or if you just, I don't know, if you don't believe me that I'm actually going through everything. But most of the time I'm actually going through everything. In the millionaire interviews I'm not, because sometimes there's just a lot of fluff, like some shit you just don't need, or I at least think you don't need. But if you're interested in all the just millionaire interviews that I've gone through up to now, then go to the esimoney.com website. I'm actually not somehow affiliated to them, I get not paid by them. It's just because I like these websites. I just think that you can get a lot out of these, and this is the reason why I suggest them to you. But I think we just start with rule 1. And rule 1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back, which is also basically the number 1, or the rule 1 from the real small. It's actually very, very long. Wow. It actually is fucking long. So yeah, this is, by the way, gonna be a very, very, very long, very long book summary, I guess. So stand up straight with your shoulders back. Inequality of ability occurs through natural variation and those higher inability to command greater resources. Which means, I don't know, but higher position in social hierarchy, yeah, it makes sense. Those people who are higher in position in social hierarchy do just have more leverage and do just have higher abilities and do just can get to more things. I think, because it's something about status, isn't it? A lot of people crave for status, which is something that Seth Godin always just talks about, not like always, but often, and which is interesting, and which is totally true. This is the quite the only reason, one of the only reasons why people actually buy themselves just luxurious cars. It's just about status, and it's just about just showing people, even unconsciously. I do not really want to say that everyone who is driving a car, like a Ferrari or whatsoever, just does it because for the status, or just he thinks like, yeah, other people will know that I'm so fucking rich, and this just makes me feel good about me. I really don't want to say this. There are just a lot of people as well that just like the cars, or like the design, or just like the speed, or they just need the speed somehow. But often it's just status, that people actually buy themselves luxurious goods. It doesn't always have to be cars, because they know that people view them differently then. And yeah, so it's then, and isn't it also just like, if you're higher in position, the chances are higher that you just get friends and whatsoever, because nobody wants to just drop their status, which is also something that Seth Godin is talking about, especially in the book This Is Marketing, which is somehow a contradiction, isn't it? No, it isn't, because you can just use these rules of the rules, quote unquote rules of status to actually market things, and to just really know, okay, how you're gonna market them. But yeah, just hanging out with people in higher position in the social hierarchy, I think just is better than just hanging around actually with somebody who is really, really low in the social hierarchy. But yeah, so more advantages, home locations, more reproductive interest from higher quality mates, and more cooperation with peers and subordinates. So inequality of ability occurs through natural variation, and those higher in ability command greater resources, like higher position social hierarchy, more advantages, home locations, and whatsoever. Recognizing your position in the social hierarchy, signaling it, and competing for position are deeply evolved biological behaviors. Its commonality in species as divergent from us as crawfish suggests. That it was, which is now in bold, which seems to be important, that it was strongly selected for in natural selection, very early in life, and has a very functional role. So two, which is quite a great example, but I guess they've given it in the small summary as well, but it's still interesting. So 2 stranger lobsters placed in the same tank will within 30 minutes determine the dominant and the subordinate lobster. The subsequent behaviors match their position, one strutting, claws in the air, like, I'm the best, I am just the biggest one, I am just the one who has the leverage, and I'm the one who is just higher in the hierarchy. And the other one just, I guess, and it's also what they say, the claws are down, the body language of the lobster just says, okay, I'm the subordinate, I'm the one who is dominated, who is being dominated by the other one, And it is basically the same thing with people as well, which is what he wants to say, that if you really just, and I thought about it, and it somehow actually makes sense, that, if you're sitting like really straight and you're just being in a position that you just look and feel, which is just then the same somehow, very confident, very like just, you're powerful and, whatsoever, then people also view you like this and will truly just treat you differently. Because it's, I guess, and it's my opinion, I guess it's just subconscious. Like, if I'm standing like this, and I'm just, for the YouTube videos, this is just a little bit an advantage. If I'm just, sitting like this with a straight back, my chest pumped out, I'm just, having, maybe just take a lot of room by actually extending my arms, which is also something like, okay, just come at me. Like, I have power, I'm confident, I know. And I guess, and I really think it is, people will just treat me different than when I'm just like just my just legs narrow together, a round back, just really looking like I'm crippled by my life. I'm just fucked up. Like, I do not want to say shy, because shy doesn't mean that you're just, sitting like this and you're just acting like this, or your body language is like this. Totally not. But like just kind of crippled, really kind of crippled. You're crippled by your life, or, by whomever, or by whatever. Just like, I guess, it just feels for me like, people will totally just treat you differently than if you're just not being arrogant, but being confident and seeming confident. But yeah, this is just what I think. And it would also make sense for me. It would really does make sense for me. So the function of the signaling and recognition behavior is to distribute scarce resources between individuals without the need for costly conflict. Consider the confrontation between 2 lobsters sizing each other up. At each stage in conflict, a lobster may yield and opt for subordinates. Failing this, the conflict escalates. Totally, then they're gonna fight, I guess. If there isn't someone who is just playing or just viewing himself as the subordinate, then there's gonna be an escalation. Makes sense, because they both are the same dominance, or have the same dominance, and seem to have the same hierarchy, but it shouldn't be the case, because everybody of them wants to be the higher one, or the more dominant one. So first, the lobster examine each other's claw and body size, and secret chemicals indicate their health, size, and mood. Failing this, the lobster may face off, making threatening advances to one another. Failing this, the lobster wrestle, trying to flip the other, which then means, which is quite normal, I guess, in the animal world, which also just leads me to the thought that it is also just very, very common in our world. Like giraffes are also fighting each other. It looks very funny. I just have to, you have to watch the video about it. This really looks funny. It just really does. I can't help myself. It really is funny, because they actually hit themselves with their fucking head. And you just have to think about it. It's like, I don't know, something like your belt. Like if you're just, kind of throwing your belt like forward and it's just clapping, it's just the same thing, because their neck is so fucking long. It really looks funny, but and I guess they just fight each other, and somehow one of them loses. And how someone loses is just up to their rules. Lobsters might just kind of lose through being on their back because they can't move or something else. The giraffes, I guess, when they're falling down, so when someone of them hits the ground, I think the one has just lost. I guess. I don't remember. I've once watched a video, or I think, no, it was a movie. It was a movie. Just some animal documentary stuff. It's very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah. So failing this, so if they even not stop with this, and the lobster engage in physical combat using claws to damage body parts. Similar animal behaviors, defeated wolves will roll over and expose their throats. Which means like, you can kill me, you have the leverage, you are the more dominant one, you're the more powerful one. Which is, by the way, the same thing with women as well. If women, or if a girl or a woman, whatever, if they show the neck to you, it really means that they are just enjoying your you being by them. There's a better word I know, but a company. They enjoy your company and they just want to like maybe more. Because when they're exposing their fucking throat, it just means, okay, I know you could kill me, but I'm trusting in you, and I trust you that you're not doing it. And which means, okay, you can come nearer to me. You can do it. You can just be close to me. Because if someone is really just, showing the throat to someone, but I don't know if it is really like so obvious, so obvious, right? And but also elk will wrestle with horns, and I guess it's often like this. So females let the males sort themselves out into a hierarchy, then choose the best individual to mate with. In 12 Rules for Life, Peterson adds a point about the archetypal romance of the large, powerful, aggressive male is subdued and charmed by the female. For example, Beauty and the Beast. Okay. So this social behavior is useful for individual fitness, even if one ends up being subordinate, and thus can be selected for in evolution. I see. I guess, if I'm just understanding this right, there will always be a woman for a man, like, or a female wolf for a male wolf, whether he being in the highest height of the hierarchy or not. There will always be just someone choosing him, I guess, because they say females let the males sort themselves out into hierarchy and then choose the best individual to mate with. It's not like, I guess it's not about the hierarchy. It truly is about the hierarchy sometimes. But isn't there female hierarchy as well? I don't fucking know. So consider an average lobster that refused to defer to any lobster. In some cases it would actually be superior and the other lobster would back off, but sometimes it would have its bluff called by a stronger lobster and it would be injured or killed. So consider an average lobster that refused to defer. What does that mean? Okay. So likewise, a supreme alpha lobster would rather avoid conflict, since injury could allow an inferior third lobster to opportunize. It also doesn't necessarily want to kill submissive individuals, since they could be useful partners later. Makes sense. Really makes sense. So from a group perspective, if ability is concentrated unequally, and if a group is best served by following the unequal good people, then the hierarchies are useful. So from a group perspective, if ability is concentrated unequally, and if a group is best served by following the unequally good people, then hierarchy is useful, or hierarchies are useful. Yeah, makes sense. If everybody would have the same abilities and the same just skills and whatever, a hierarchy wouldn't just make sense, because everybody is the same and everybody just has the same abilities or somehow the same abilities. But if the skills and the abilities and whatever are so unequal that there is just the best one, then it makes sense that there is a hierarchy. It makes sense. The neurotransmitter serotonin is thought to be the internal mediator of social status. If you feel or are dominant in status, more serotonin circulates in your bloodstream. Thread leaders have higher serotonin levels than members. Submissive lobsters have physiologically, psychologically, no, it's physiologically, what the fucking, you know what I mean. Different serotonin circuits then potentiate differently. Administering SSRIs, antidepressants, to lobsters make them adopt the dominant body posture and fight longer before retreating. Antidepressants. Wow. Is it the same with us then? Wait a minute. This could totally make sense, you know, I guess, and I'm just assuming now, I don't actually know. People who are depressed often do not show the just most confident and most dominant body gesture, or body just posture. Does this mean that antidepressants are actually just, that they are just, you know, hiring up, like I'm high, you are low, and whatsoever, hiring up or boosting your serotonin levels so that you actually just choose other body postures. This would be great. I just really like to know this right now, even though I don't know if this is something I can use somewhere, but it's very interesting. If an alpha male is removed from a group and a new male given Prozac inserted, the Prozac male becomes the new alpha consistently. What is a Prozac? Trademark fluoxetine. So if an alpha male is removed from a group and a new male given Prozac inserted, Prozac seems to be some kind of a chemical or some sort of a drug or whatsoever, the Prozac male becomes the new alpha consistently. Serotonin also seems to improve pro-social behavior and reduces aggression. Makes sense since high-status people have much to lose with violence, while low-status ones do not. Makes sense. Really? Does this also mean, because I'm in general a pretty aggressive person, I am just. Does this first of all mean that I'm low of status? And does this also mean, which is nothing to just worry about for me, because I know I'm great. No joke, but you know what I mean. Does this then mean that if I'm choosing another body posture, that I'm actually getting less violent? And that I'm only getting violent when I'm just somehow feeling that my just position is somehow weak or getting weaker by another person? What do you say? And with this question, I really want to end the episode. It's just incredible what's in this book. I really love it. I really enjoy those things. I really do. Would be nice to know what category or what just genre of knowledge that is quite. Is this human just physiology or psychology? Is it this? I don't know. But yeah, with this being said, I hope you have the best day, and I hope you get the best wealth, health, happiness, and success. But please do remember how you're going to be remembered, and so maybe giving back to the people, even though they've given you nothing, might be a great idea. And with that being said, hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.